Chapter 81, Big Case. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Come on in. Xia yelled. The KTV was so loud you had to shout to be heard. The door opened, and a waiter walked in, followed by a dozen more, all carrying plates piled high with fruit, snacks, and drinks. Hello, sir, here's your fruit platter. I didn't order any of this, Xia said. Someone else sent it. It's already been paid for, the waiter replied politely. There was so much food they couldn't fit it all on the table, so the waiter had to use another one. Lin Bingbing's jaw dropped. She couldn't believe Xia had so much pull that someone would send them all this stuff. The waiters left after unloading everything. You sure know how to work a room, Lin Bingbing said, shaking her head at the mountain of food. Dig in. It's free, Xia said, grabbing a piece of watermelon. Just remember why we're here, okay? That guy went upstairs a little while ago, Lin Bingbing reminded him. Relax. I saw him. He went upstairs when they delivered the fruit, Xia said, munching away. So we should follow him? Lin Bingbing asked. Why bother? He'll have to come back down eventually. We'll just tail him then, Xia said, happily stuffing his face. Seriously, you must have been a pig in a past life, Lin Bingbing said, watching him devour everything. She wasn't even hungry anymore. Lin Bingbing stopped singing and focused on watching Xia eat. After the delivery, they probably wouldn't be bothered again, so there was no need to worry about looking suspicious. Finally, after about half an hour, Xia put down his food. All done? Lin Bingbing asked. Not really, but he's coming out, Xia said, wiping his hands and heading for the door. Lin Bingbing followed. As Xia walked out, the waiters in the hallway gave him respectful nods. He strolled right out of the KTV, with Lin Bingbing close behind. The street was packed with women, all shapes and sizes, but none as stunning as Lin Bingbing. She turned heads everywhere she went. Xia grabbed Lin Bingbing's hand and kept moving forward. She tried to pull away, but his grip was too strong, and she didn't want to risk blowing her cover by making a scene. The guy, Rao Yazi, walked with a swagger, looking like he'd just spent quality time with his mistress. Xia couldn't help but be impressed. How could someone go at it multiple times in under an hour? They kept their distance, about a block back. Several times, Lin Bingbing thought they'd lost him and wanted to catch up, but Xia held her back. The man eventually arrived at a cafe. Xia and Lin Bingbing followed, choosing a table far from Huyazi. Who's he meeting? Lin Bingbing asked, trying not to stare for too long. Some guy from Japan, Xia replied casually. Japanese? So, mission accomplished for me, then. Can you tell what they're saying? Lin Bingbing asked. I'm on it. Xia watched their mouths, deciphering their conversation. The Japanese guy spoke fluent Chinese, and they were deep in discussion. 5 minutes later, Xia stood up. Let's go. Once they were outside, Lin Bingbing asked, what were they talking about? They're planning something involving a cultural artifact that's being brought to Jianghai City in 3 days. Sounds like they're going to try to steal it, Xia told her. A cultural artifact heist. Big case, Lin Bingbing said excitedly. Looks like you've wrapped up your part, Xia said, turning to Lin Bingbing. Thanks, Lin Bingbing said with a slight smile. Is that all I get? What about that kiss you promised? Xia asked with a grin. Nope. I said you had to help me first, remember? Lin Bingbing said, like she'd been planning this. With Xia's memory, he couldn't deny it. All right. Next time, I'm getting it in writing. After saying goodbye to Lin Bingbing, Xia called his cousin and hailed a cab back to his place. His cousin had laid down the law. If he didn't come home tonight, heads would roll. When he opened the door, he was stunned. The place was sparkling, like a movie set. If he hadn't opened the door himself, he would have thought he was in the wrong apartment. It looked like a wedding was about to happen. We wish you good luck on your exams. Yi Qingxue and Bing Xian shouted, jumping out from behind the couch. Xia's nose started bleeding the moment he saw what they were wearing, tight, red leggings and, nothing else. Talk about setting the mood. It was so hot his nose started gushing. It's good to be young, he thought. The red leggings showed off their figures. Xia could honestly say he'd never had improper thoughts about his cousin before, but he was at a loss for words. Oh no! What happened? Quick, stop the bleeding. The two girls rushed over to help, but their frantic efforts only made things worse. The more they fussed, the heavier the nosebleed became. To think I'd die from a nosebleed, Xia sighed. What do we do? Should we call 911? Yi Qingxue asked anxiously. No, I'll go to the bathroom. I'll be fine, Xia said, dashing for the bathroom. The sight was too much to handle. He turned on the cold water and splashed it on his face, finally calming down. But then he turned his head and saw a pile of lace, his cousin's and Bingxin's lacy lingerie. Oh, man, he groaned. Chapter 82, Someone is Chasing Zeng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing the little bit of lace in front of him, Summer almost got another nosebleed. My cousins are trying to kill me, Summer muttered, forcing himself not to look. Summer, you okay? Yi Qingxue and Bing Xian called out, worried. I'm good, Summer replied. Hey, shouldn't you two put on something warmer? Summer really couldn't look anymore. He was afraid he'd bleed to death. His cousins and Bing Xian were wearing these festive outfits, basically red tights that showed off every curve. Both of them were in great shape, and he couldn't help but stare. What are you wearing clothes like that for on such a hot day? Come on out if you're alright. Bing Xian made you a special dinner, Yi Qingxue called. This is gonna kill me, Summer grumbled, gritting his teeth as he walked out. When he came out, the two women had already changed out of the red tights, which were just supposed to be a surprise. Now they were wearing skirts. There's something about a woman in a skirt that makes her look like a princess. And these two princesses were gorgeous. Dinner was almost ready. In about 10 minutes, Bing Xian put the finishing touches on everything. The 8 dishes were packed with flavor. This is seriously good. Bing Xian's cooking is amazing, Yi Qingxue said. Yeah, Bing Xian is a master chef, Summer agreed, taking a bite. It was way better than any restaurant food. Summer, remember, when you're looking for a wife, find someone like Bing Xian, someone who's great whether you're out on the town or just at home in the kitchen, Yi Qingxue said with a sweet smile. Qingxue, just eat, Bing Xian said, putting a big piece of meat on Yi Qingxue's plate. Are you trying to shut me up? Yi Qingxue asked, looking at the meat. Bing Xian is the best. Unlike some people cough, my cousin cough, she can actually cook more than instant noodles, and not burn them to a crisp, Summer said, recalling when he and Yi Qingxue had lived together. Back then, Yi Qingxue had claimed she could cook, so she'd bought 2 packs of instant noodles, but she'd gotten distracted watching TV and the noodles had turned to mush. Shut your mouth, Yi Qingxue snapped, glaring at him. That was a dark stain on her record. The instant noodles were boiled dry. Bing Xian's mouth twitched. She wanted to laugh but was afraid of making Yi Qingxue mad. Seeing Bing Xian's expression only made things worse. You two are trying to drive me crazy. Yi Qingxue stormed off to her room. Qingxue, wait up. Bing Xian called, chasing after her. After Summer finished eating, he went back to his own room. Bing Xian came out to clean up and then brought Summer a plate of fruit that she'd specially prepared for him. That evening, Summer practiced his Tianqing Ju until dawn. The next morning, he got a call from Zeng, who asked him to come to the office. After Summer bought breakfast for the two girls, he headed to the Zeng group. Good morning, Mr. Xia, the security guard at the door greeted him. Don't do that in the future. I can't handle it, Summer said. He didn't like being called that. Okay, Mr. Xia. I told you not to call me that. Yes. When he walked into the office, everyone stood up to greet him. Some of them had never even met him, but Zeng Ro had told them during a meeting that the company had a new senior general manager. That's President Xia. He's so young. And so handsome. He looks like a boy band member. Heard he's not as soft as he looks. They say President Xia is a real powerhouse. At Zeng Ro's company, the gossip mill never stopped. These women love to chat about anything and everything. If only he were my boyfriend. Then I wouldn't have to sit here working my butt off. Look in the mirror. You're going to have to work hard if you ever want to catch his eye. Summer nodded and waved to everyone. He really didn't like this kind of scene. I'm going to have to talk to Ro about this. I'll be too embarrassed to come to the company. He went to Zeng Ro's office. She wasn't there yet, but there was already a bouquet of flowers on the table. Summer picked up the card. Dear Ruru, you are the light in the dark night, illuminating the path of my life. That it was signed Hua, who loves you. What a loser, Summer muttered, throwing the flowers straight into the trash can. Knock, knock, knock. Come in, Summer said, sitting in Zeng Ro's seat. Mr. Zeng, here's the latest market report, a woman in a uniform said, walking in. She paused when she saw Summer. Who are you? Oh, I'm a friend of Ro's, Summer said casually. The woman frowned. She wasn't sure whether to leave the report or take it with her. Just leave it here, Summer said, guessing what she was thinking. Okay, the woman nodded, put the report on Zeng Ro's desk, then turned to leave. She stopped at the door. I'll come back when Mr. Zeng gets here. She'd just take the report with her. Seeing her actions, Summer smiled slightly. This woman was way too cautious. Did she really think he was going to mess with Zeng Ro's stuff? The woman walked out, then came back less than 2 minutes later. I'm sorry, President Xia. I thought you were. The woman apologized. One of those jerks trying to hit on your boss. Is that it? Summer said with a smile. I'm sorry, President Xia, the woman said again. All right. President Xia makes me sound like a shrimp. You look like you can't stand those guys anyway, right? Summer asked the woman. Well, there used to be a lot of them, but the security guards usually stopped them. But some of the powerful ones said they wanted to talk to President Zeng about business, and some even barged right in. That's why I jumped to conclusions, the woman nodded. I see, Summer said. That made sense. Zeng Ro was young, beautiful, and had a great personality. She was also the CEO of the Zeng Group, so a lot of guys would definitely be after her. And lately there's this guy named Wen Zhaohua. They say he's a big player in Jianghai City. He's really aggressive. He even beat up a security guard a few days ago, the woman said. Wen Zhaohua, Summer repeated, remembering the name. Chapter 83, College Entrance Examination Champion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The flower label mentioned Hua, and now this executive, Zhongxia, confirms it's Wen Zhaohua. Sending flowers directly to Zeng Ro's office. This guy must have connections. After a short wait, Zeng Ro arrived. You're early, Zeng Ro said, settling into the chair across from Xia Tian. Couldn't stay away, Xia Tian grinned. Smooth talker, Zeng Ro chuckled. Coming from anyone else, she'd find it annoying, but Xia Tian made it sound sweet. So, who's this Wen Zhaohua? Xia Tian asked. Where'd you hear about him? Flowers in the trash. Xia pointed to the wastebasket. Wen Zhaohua is one of the 4 young masters of Jianghai. 27, still single, and the second son of the Wen Corporation, Zeng Ro explained casually. The 4 young masters. Xia Tian looked puzzled. They're just the 4 most prominent young guys in Jianghai, Jiang Tianshu, Hu Fangye, Wen Zhaohua, and Wang Nianlin, Zeng Ro said. Basically, rich playboys. Oh, I know Wang Nianlin. He was chasing my cousin, Xia Tian said dismissively. You're better off avoiding him. The Wang family made their fortune in medicine, and old man Wang is considered Jianghai's top doctor. You don't want to mess with people connected to hospitals and medicine these days. They have reach all over Jianghai. Even a VP at Jianghai Hospital, who's related to my family, wouldn't cross the Wangs, Zeng warned. Too late. I already messed with him, Xia Tian replied. Well, forget I said anything. If he gives you trouble, I'll have your back. Zeng knew those guys were powerful, but they were still just kids with limited control of their family's resources. While Zeng family might not be as wealthy, she was the one in charge now. I'm not afraid of trouble. The last thing Xia worried about was someone looking for a fight. He welcomed it. Alright, Zeng said, knowing Xia's capabilities. So, what's up? Why'd you have me come to the office? Xia Tian asked. There's an executive meeting today, and some of the regional managers are back. Thought you guys could reconnect. Really, she just wanted to see him. It had been a few days, she didn't want to bother him during his exams. Now that they were over, she called him directly, on the phone. Hello. Xia Tian. This is your homeroom teacher. Your scores are in. Oh, really? Barring any surprises, you're this year's valedictorian. You scored 737 points, breaking the all-time record. Wow. All 10 top universities are trying to recruit you. Which one do you want to go to? I want to study at Jianghai University. Jianghai University. While it's a good school, it's not comparable to Beijing University. I know. Okay, I'll notify the media. This is big news. Those 3 professors from Beijing University have been suspended. Thanks, teach. Xia Tian hung up. Your scores are out. Zeng looked surprised. The college entrance exams had only finished 2 days ago. Yep, Xia Tian confirmed. That's fast. What did you get? Zeng asked. 737 points, Xia Tian replied casually. What? 737. Zeng stared at him, shocked. She knew Xia Tian wouldn't lie, but the score was unbelievable. Ding. A message popped up in Zeng company group chat. Zeng, huge news. Jianghai has a valedictorian with a 737 score. Should we reach out and try to get him as a spokesperson or something? 737 points. Never heard of that before. I think he broke the record. I heard those 3 Beijing University professors who accused him of cheating on the practice exams got fired. Yeah, apparently professors from the 10 top universities in the country proctored his exam to ensure he was legit. The school's not releasing his identity, though. Breaking news. The valedictorian turned down offers from 10 prestigious universities and chose Jianghai University. The executives in Zeng group chat were going nuts. Meanwhile, at the Su residence. Dad, are we really leaving Jianghai? Su Xiaozong asked, confused. Yes. The chances of curing San's leg are slim. We've become a target. If we don't leave now, it might be too late, Su Qinghua replied. He hated to leave, losing everything he'd built over the years. Now he regretted provoking Xia Tian. Xia Tian. It's all his fault. I'll never let him get away with this, Su Xiaozong seethed. Enough. Now's not the time for rash decisions. We'll live to fight another day. I've already sold the stock. Took a big loss, but as long as I have money, Su Qinghua, can make a comeback. Su Qinghua had prepared for this eventuality when they lost the competition. I'm going to see Wenya, Su Xiaozong announced. You're thinking about her at a time like this? If it weren't for that woman, we wouldn't be in this mess, Su Qinghua said. He wasn't blaming Su Xiaozong, exactly. But she's the first girl I've really cared about, Su Xiaozong protested. She's not good enough for you. She only cares about money. There are plenty of girls like her in the world. She hurt our family badly. I won't let her get away with it, Su Qinghua said. He didn't blame his son, but he held Wenya responsible. Dad, what are you going to do to her? Su Xiaozong asked worriedly. I sent someone to sweet-talk her, using money. If she falls for it, that's on her. If she doesn't, the guy will bring her to you. Su Qinghua's intention was clear: if Wenya truly cared for his son, he'd let her go. But if she was only after money, she'd pay the price. Okay, Su Xiaozong said quietly, nodding in agreement. Chapter 84, One Gang of Strong Women. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zeng Ro chuckled to herself in the WeChat group. The executives had no clue that the top scorer on the national college entrance exam was right there with her. But she knew Xia valued his privacy, so she wouldn't drag him out to be a spokesperson. Besides, she wasn't about to let anyone else sponsor his tuition and living expenses. Usually, the top student in each graduating class would get swamped with offers from businesses wanting to fund their education in exchange for a commitment to work for them after graduation. But Xia was already the general manager of the Zeng group. All that was completely unnecessary. Alright, time for you to meet some of the powerhouse women who keep this company running. They're usually all over the country, so today's annual meeting is one of the few times we can get everyone together, Zeng Ro said, seizing the opportunity to introduce Xia to more people. Okay, Xia nodded. Unbeknownst to Xia, his decision to apply to Jianghai University had thrown the entire university into a frenzy. The dean, the vice dean, and the major shareholders were all in a state of excitement. The top scorer on the college entrance exam had turned down offers from prestigious universities to apply to Jianghai University. They saw it as a huge honor. They were confident this news would spread like wildfire and attract even more applicants this year. Xia, you really want to go to Jianghai University? Yi Qingxue asked over the phone. Of course. You're at Jianghai University, so that's where I'm going. I knew you were the best cousin ever. I'll help you apply for a major. Any preferences? Nah, whatever you think is best. Xia hung up. Looks like you've become a hot commodity today, Zeng Ro said, smiling. After hanging up, Yi Qingxue immediately called her advisor and gave him the news. He nearly passed out from joy. After hanging up, he raced to the dean's office. Meanwhile, Xia was already sitting in the conference room. Over 30 women, all dressed in business attire, were present. Despite being surrounded by so many beautiful women in uniform, Xia felt no attraction. Their expressions were anything but welcoming. He was the only man in the room. Every eye was on him. This was a room full of tough broads. According to studies, a common trait among powerful women is unhappiness in their marriages and a deep mistrust of men. Ahem, let me introduce you to the new general manager of our companies. He'll be overseeing everything. This decision was made jointly by all the shareholders, Zeng Ro said, clearing her throat to get everyone's attention. Ms. Zeng, why is our general manager a man? We want to know what the shareholder vote was, or if this is just you pushing things through single-handedly. Someone immediately spoke up. Even though they didn't own stock in the company, these women were the company's backbone. It was a unanimous vote, Zeng Ro said carefully, knowing she had to tread lightly with these women. Unanimous? They were stunned. They knew Zeng Ro wouldn't lie to them, so what had this guy done to get everyone on board? After hearing about the unanimous vote, no one pressed the issue further. Moving on, his name is Xia. You can call him President Xia. The board of directors has decided he has full authority within the company. He can do anything I can do, and some things I can't, Zeng Ro said, leaving the women speechless. They understood what she meant. Xia's authority superseded hers, the CEO. They were forced to reevaluate this man, the only man in the room. Well, since Ms. Zeng has said so, I'd like to ask Mr. Xia his opinion on today's biggest headline. The top scorer on the college entrance exam in Jianghai City, one of them challenged. My opinion? You've all been obsessing over it all day, Xia Xia replied nonchalantly. Mr. Xia, what are you talking about? Today's headline is about the student with the highest test scores since the founding of the People's Republic of China. If we get him to endorse our products, or offer to subsidize his future tuition and living expenses, it would be a great move for the company, don't you think? He doesn't want endorsements, and he won't take your money, Xia Xia said calmly. How do you know he doesn't want to endorse us? Because you'll find out soon enough. Any other questions? Xia Xia asked. Mr. Xia, we just launched a new lotion made with snow lotus extract. What are your thoughts on how to promote it? These women seemed intent on putting Xia Xia to the test. Alright, the marketing department will handle that. Don't bother President Xia with trivial matters like that, Zeng Ro interjected, diffusing the situation. Hearing Zeng Ro's words, they had no choice but to back down. After all, those kinds of issues were for the marketing department to solve. The boss usually just signed off on the plan. Xia Xia had to admit this group of women were a handful. They were all sharp as tacks and refused to back down. Now he understood why the statistics said what they did. These women were basically men in skirts. They didn't care about the feelings of the men in their lives, which is why their marriages were generally unhappy. Back in Zeng Ro's office, Xia Xia finally breathed a sigh of relief. How do you feel? Zeng Ro asked. Exhausted. Those women are impossible to deal with, Xia Xia sighed. Ding ding. Ms. Zeng, that Wen Zhaohua is here again. He's downstairs, the receptionist announced. I see, Zeng Ro frowned. Let him up. I'll talk to him, Xia Xia said with a slight smile. Our company collaborates with the Wen Group. Try not to start a fight, Zeng Ro cautioned. Don't worry. I'll be on my best behavior, Xia Xia said with a nod. Cousin, what's up? Yi Qingxue asked on the phone. What's up? Are you getting impatient? Of course not. My cousin calling me is cause for celebration. I'm calling to tell you I've signed you up for a major. Oh. What major is it? Senior nursing. What? Nursing. Chapter 85, Prince Charming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When I heard he was going into nursing, I was floored. My cousin, a big dude, going to nursing school. Was he worried he'd never find a wife or a job? Nursing classes are mostly girls, and even though there are more male nursing students now, it's still a tough field. Did he really want to spend the next 5 years surrounded by women? Thinking about it, maybe it was a blessing in disguise. You signed up for nursing? Zeng Ro asked, surprised. My cousin signed me up, Xia Xia replied, sounding miserable. If I'd known, I never would have let him do it. This is just too much. Your cousin's so thoughtful, Zeng Ro said. Yi Qingxue's choice of major had the nursing department's dean and teachers ecstatic. Of course, they were thrilled to have a top student join their ranks. The other department's deans and teachers could only sigh. Knock, knock, knock. Come in. Hey, Xiao Ruru, it's me. A fat guy waddled in, his face like a slab of lard, plastered with a cheesy grin. Xia Tian sized him up. He was maybe 5 feet 7 inches and pushing 200 pounds. Who's this? Wen Zhaohua asked, looking at Xia Tian. I know what you are nothing. Xia Tian said, smiling slightly. Are you calling me nothing? Wen Zhaohua's smile vanished. Well, you are a thing. What kind of thing are you? Xia Tian said, tilting his head. Wen Zhaohua, what do you want? I'm warning you, you can call me Zeng Ro or President Zeng, but that's it, Zeng Ro said, stone-faced. Xiao Ruru, don't get your panties in a twist, Wen Zhaohua cooed. Are you deaf? Didn't she tell you to knock it off? Xia Xia snapped. Whose kid are you? Adults are talking, Wen Zhaohua glared. Wen Zhaohua, watch your mouth. He's our company's special general manager and oversees everything, including me. Zeng Ro emphasized the special in Xia's title. Special General Manager. Wen Zhaohua stared at Xia, incredulous. He couldn't see anything special about him. Xiao Ro, you're pulling my leg, right? Wen Zhaohua smirked. Knock, knock, knock. Come in. Zeng Ro, here's this quarter's report. The same woman who delivered the last report entered. Seeing Xia, she perked up and said, Good morning, Mr. Xia. She handed the report to Zeng Ro and left. Where'd you crawl out of? I've never heard of you in Jianghai City. Wen Zhaohua scanned Xia, gauging his age. He seemed young, a recent arrival, maybe. But he'd never heard of a Xia family in Jianghai City. What's it to you? Xia asked, puzzled. Wow, this kid's got a mouth on him, Wen Zhaohua said. He was used to running his mouth, but he'd finally met someone who could match him. If it weren't for Sister Ro, I'd have tossed you out already, Xia said casually. Toss me out? Huh, give it your best shot. Wen Zhaohua burst out laughing. He'd never heard anything so ridiculous in his life, Xia grinned. Seeing that smile, Zeng Ro knew something was about to go down. Crash. Bang. The glass in Zeng Ro's office shattered, and a fat figure flew into the office area. The commotion drew the attention of everyone working in the office. Everyone knew the fat man. It was Wen Zhaohua, one of Jianghai's 4 young masters. The Zeng group employees all knew Wen Zhaohua. He showed up every day, making a huge scene, a real loose cannon. He was arrogant and entitled, and if you crossed him, you'd regret it. He'd injured 13 people in the Zeng group, 3 of them women. Am I seeing things? That's Wen Zhaohua. I saw it too. He broke President Zeng's window. He was thrown out. The women in the office gaped at Wen Zhaohua, and the other executives emerged from their offices. The commotion had drawn everyone in. Oops, the window's broken, Xia said, strolling out of Zeng Ro's office and lifting Wen Zhaohua with one hand. That's right, he lifted him. Xia Tian hoisted Wen Zhaohua's 200+ pounds with a single hand. The office erupted in applause. It was a just reward. It felt like Xia was righting a wrong. Mr. Xia. President Xia. Cheers echoed through the office. The executives who'd been in the meeting stared at Xia, stunned. They'd all heard of Wen Zhaohua. Wen Zhaohua's reputation in Jianghai City was definitely loud, but today, their boss Xia had taken him down a peg. Xia Tian carried Wen Zhaohua to the elevator, pressed the button for the first floor, and chucked Wen Zhaohua inside. A crowd of women followed, eager for the show. Mr. Xia. President Xia. The women cheered. Get back to work. You're still on the clock. Zeng Ro yelled. Seeing Zeng Ro appear, everyone scurried back to their desks. You guys, clean this up and replace the glass. I've got something to do. I'm leaving early. I'm in a good mood, so everyone gets the afternoon off. Zeng Ro smiled. The office erupted in another cheer. Zeng Ro was in a good mood. Beating up Wen Zhaohua was a pain, but the man she liked stood up for her. From that day on, Xia became the Prince Charming of the Zeng group women, good-looking, handsome, powerful, and assertive. You really know how to make trouble, Zeng Ro sighed. He's not trouble. He's just a heavy piece of garbage, Xia Tian grinned. I guarantee you, this is going to be a major headache, Zeng Ro said, convinced Wen Zhaohua wouldn't take this lying down. As long as you're not carried off by someone else, nothing's a problem, Xia said, his eyes twinkling. You little charmer, Zeng Ro said, smiling. Sister Ro, I've got something to do. Come with me. I'll introduce you to my brother, Xia said. Chapter 86, Wen Zhaohua #039, S Anger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Your brother? Zeng Ro was surprised. She'd known Xia for ages and had no idea he had a brother. She thought Xia had mentioned once that she didn't have any relatives. He's my sworn brother. My dad took him in when I was a kid, but then he left. I only found him again a few days ago. Xia is very close to Xiaoma. Wow, I'd love to meet him. Zeng Ro had already met Xia's cousin, so meeting his brother seemed natural. After all, their relationship was pretty special. Xia called Brother Ma right away. Hey, Xiaoma, time for Mr. Xiang's appointment. I'm heading over now. Okay, I'll be right there. I just got some supplements ready. See ya. Xia didn't mention Zeng Ro, wanting to surprise Xiaoma. Even if Zeng Ro wasn't officially his girlfriend, he already thought of her as his girl. Zeng Ro drove Xia. Arriving at their destination, she was stunned. Xia was going to a villa. It looked expensive. Zeng Ro could technically buy it, but it would drain her savings. Your brother lives here? Zeng Ro asked skeptically. It was hard to believe a guy adopted by his father owned a villa this size. Nah, I'm here to treat the owner of this place, Xia explained. You're a healer. Zeng Ro was constantly surprised by Xia. The more she knew, the more mysterious he became. Xia was like a treasure chest, or a doryman. You never knew what he'd pull out next. A little bit, Xia said with a smile. As they walked into the villa, the security guards didn't stop them. They even saluted Xia. This made Zeng Ro wonder about his connection to the owner. Xiaoma had already arrived. Hey, Zeng Ro, Xiaoma said, surprised. Brother Xiaoma, you know Sister Ro? Xia asked, puzzled. I saw her at a charity auction, Brother Ma replied. Oh, right, you're Ma Yongzhen. Zeng Ro recognized the name because it was the same as a famous actor. Ma Yongzhen. Xia facepalmed. Even Mr. Xiang looked a little taken aback, since he recognized the name from TV. Ha, Ma Yongzhen, so that's your name. No wonder you never told me. Xia was cracking up. He'd known Brother Ma for so long, and he'd never shared his name. I knew you'd laugh, that's why, Brother Ma said. He usually avoided sharing his name, but he paid a fortune for a painting at the auction, so they'd announced it. So, Xia, what's up with you and Zeng Ro? Xiaoma had heard of Zeng Ro as a powerhouse businesswoman. You mean Sister Ro? She's mine. Xia caught Zeng Ro's warning look. She's my good sister, yeah, good sister. Xiaoma smiled, seeing the way Xia stumbled over his words. Zeng Ro looked helpless. Ready, master? Xia asked, pulling out the BNK needles. Been ready, Mr. Xiang replied, full of energy. Xia's acupuncture was smooth and flowing. Having used the BNK needles once before, he felt more confident this time, and his understanding of acupuncture had deepened. True skill can't be learned from a book, it requires practice. After the treatment, Mr. Xiang felt better, but not as dramatically as before. How'd the exam go, Xia? Brother Ma asked after they left the villa. It was okay, Xia said. Need anything, just call, Brother Xiaoma offered, meaning if he bombed the test, he could pull some strings to get him into a good college. Okay, Xia replied, at the hospital. I want revenge. I'll make that little punk pay. Wen Zhaohua yelled. Who did they think he was? He'd been humiliated and thrown out of a building. Seeing the cuts on his face and hands, Wen Zhaohua got even angrier. I'll get even with them. And Zeng Ro, that bitch. Without the Zeng group, I wouldn't have to kiss up to her all the time. Wen Zhaohua started smashing things. Okay, Zeng Ro, if you want to play dirty, fine. Wen Zhaohua dialed a number. This is Wen Zhaohua. I'm notifying the marketing department to temporarily suspend all cooperation with the Zeng group. But that's against the law. MD, don't you know who I am? Just do what I say. Wen Zhaohua hung up and made another call. Abayo, I need a favor. The Zeng group just released a new Snow Lotus water, right? Go stir up some trouble, make a big scene. Wen Zhaohua hung up, feeling a little better, then he saw his hospital room and flew into a rage again. He deserved better than this. He demanded intensive care, but the doctor said they were full. He called the hospital administrator, who explained that intensive care was at capacity, and those beds were for critical patients. He was only slightly injured. When Zhaohua went ballistic, beating up all the other patients in his ward, the hospital leaders had no choice but to give him the room to himself. Zeng, you can't escape me, Wen Zhaohua said with a sinister smile. Chapter 87, Crisis is Coming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zeng took Xia to the ritziest street in Jianghai City, determined to revamp his wardrobe. After all, Xia was the special general manager of Zeng Group. His current cheap casual clothes just didn't cut it. He needed to look the part. Zeng ushered Xia into a boutique. She went in first, followed by Xia, who didn't recognize the brand, just a bunch of English letters. As soon as they entered, the sales staff flocked to Zeng, completely ignoring him. It was obvious at a glance that Zeng radiated authority and wore expensive clothes. The sales associates swarmed around her, knowing she was a big spender. Xia hung back by the entrance, taking it all in while Zeng picked out clothes for him. No one paid him any attention, so he browsed the merchandise, then he saw the price tags, and his jaw dropped. You've got to be kidding. 8 grand for one piece of clothing? Hey, hands off. You break it, you buy it, a saleswoman snapped, spotting Xia touching the fabric. Xia mumbled, startled, and put the clothes down. Zeng, who was sorting through garments, frowned. She and Xia were the only customers in the store, so the saleswoman had to be talking about him. She turned around and marched over to the saleswoman. What's with the "don't touch" routine? How can you tell if something fits without trying it on? I'm sorry, ma'am, I wasn't talking to you, the saleswoman stammered. Then who were you talking to? Zeng demanded, her eyes icy. Really, I wasn't talking about you. I meant him, the saleswoman said, pointing at Xia, who just shook his head, knowing she was trying to get away with being rude. And what's wrong with him? Zeng asked, her years of leadership giving her an air of quiet power. The saleswoman knew instantly she'd messed up. Beauty, I'm so sorry, she's new. The store manager rushed over, realizing that Zeng was not someone to be trifled with. Humph. Zeng glared at the saleswoman, grabbed Xia's arm, and stalked out to the next store. All the high-end brands were clustered together for the convenience of wealthy shoppers. People without money need not apply. Seeing that Zeng wasn't going to make a scene, the store manager sighed in relief. Next time, open your eyes. And lose the attitude. Working in these places warped your perspective. The staff thought they were part of some elite club and looked down on anyone who couldn't afford the merchandise. Store manager, they probably can't afford anything anyway. That woman was probably just playing dress up, the saleswoman grumbled, still not convinced she'd done anything wrong. Exactly. If she was so rich, why was she the only one wearing designer clothes? I didn't recognize her brand, probably a knockoff, or no brand at all. Another saleswoman chimed in, always ready to back up a coworker. Actually, I think I saw that dress she was wearing on TV a few days ago during Fashion Week. I think there's only one in the whole country, and it costs over 300 grand, a new girl in the corner blurted out. What do you know? You're a newbie. You've barely seen any high-end clothes. These days, fakes are everywhere, the first saleswoman snapped. Okay, knock it off, the store manager said, frowning. If it was a big customer, they were in serious trouble, and her job could be on the line. The competition on this street was fierce. The store owners acted like they were all friends, but they secretly compared sales every single day. If that woman bought a ton of expensive clothes next door, their boss would know immediately. 10 minutes later. What are you all doing? Why are sales so low today? There's a big spender next door. Get over here and listen up. That customer just spent over 100 grand. The owner of the store yelled to the store manager, Hearing this, the store manager broke out in a cold sweat. She hoped the beautiful woman who had just left wasn't the big spender, but as she peered outside, she spotted the same man and woman carrying 7 or 8 shopping bags. We're doomed, the store manager thought. But it wasn't over yet. The couple moved on to another store, 10 minutes later. Are you guys even trying? The store next door is killing it. What's wrong with us? The boss called again. The store manager walked to the door, and what she saw was the same as before. This time it's over. The store manager could have killed someone. After another 10 minutes, www.wuxiaspot.com. Get your butt over to the store right now. The boss hung up after those few words. Heaven help me. The store manager howled, looking up to the sky. Xia Xia had become a free porter. Zeng was a shopaholic, pure and simple. If she saw something she liked, she bought it, figuring Xia Xia would like it, too. She'd glance at something and then just buy it for him. Xia Xia finally understood what it meant to have money to burn. Buy, buy, buy. That was Zeng Ro's shopping philosophy. Finally, an hour later, Xia Xia caught a break, but he was still loaded down with bags. It wasn't that he wasn't strong enough, but he just didn't have enough hands. Zeng Ro's phone rang. Hey, what's up? Ms. Zeng, there's been a problem with the lotus water. Some people are claiming it disfigured them after they used it. 3 people showed up together. That's impossible. Lotus water has no side effects. The situation's just been contained, but reporters are there, too. The biggest cosmetics mall in Shanghai City is surrounded. Those people want answers. The mall wants us to deal with this fast, or they'll suspend our partnership. Damn it, what's going on? I have no idea, Ms. Zeng. Can you come over? Zeng Ro hung up and looked at Xia Xia. Let's go, Xia Xia said with a slight smile. How did you know I was leaving? Zeng Ro asked, surprised. I heard you, Xia Xia replied, smiling. No way. Your hearing is that good? Zeng Ro looked at Xia Xia in disbelief. He was 10 feet away, and she hadn't even said anything out loud. Chapter 88, All You Need is Arrogance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zeng Ro really wondered if Xia Xia was even human. Was he some kind of alien with superpowers? But she quickly dismissed the thought. After all, Xia Xia had taken a bullet for her once. Besides, if he had the power to stop time, he would have used it, inside Shanghai City's largest cosmetics mall. It's this lotus water and lotus lotion that messed up my face. Just look at me. The woman was overweight, barely 5 feet tall, and pushing 160 pounds. Her face was covered in pimples. You think you've got it bad? I'm totally disfigured. Another woman's face was blotchy red and black. Her natural skin tone seemed to be black, with the red parts looking exactly like an allergic reaction. You call that disfigured? This is disfigured. A third woman's face was a roadmap of scars, big and small, and frankly, pretty scary. Everyone, please, the manufacturer's representatives are here and will address your concerns, the mall owner announced, trying to calm the crowd. All of these women had receipts for cosmetics purchased at this mall just yesterday. We demand answers. Yeah, this is just bad business. How could this stuff ever pass inspection? Someone must have pulled some strings. The mall owner should be held responsible too. He's practically an accomplice for selling products without proper certification. That a chorus of reporters chimed in from the back. Hello, everyone. I represent the manufacturer of the lotus water and lotus lotion. I assure you, our company has never cut corners. All our quality control meets national standards. In fact, we use these products ourselves, and we've never experienced anything like this. That's a lie. We had this stuff tested, and the results prove that these 2 products are the reason we're disfigured. Clearly, these women had done their homework. They'd bought the cosmetics just yesterday and already had lab results. Their efficiency was impressive. What's all the commotion? A corpulent figure pushed his way to the front, bandages covering his hands. He looked like he'd just gotten out of the hospital. Seeing him, everyone wondered if his hands had been damaged by makeup. It's young Master Wen. Someone suddenly shouted from the crowd. Young Master Wen. He's young Master Wen. He's so handsome. Several women shrieked at once. Master Wen, you're a big shot. You have to help us. The three victims wailed in unison. The whole scene was way over the top. The Zeng group people instantly recognized what was going on. This was clearly Wen Zhaohua's doing. The actors he hired were laying it on way too thick. Even the mall owner was exasperated. He knew Wen Zhaohua, and it was obvious that this was some kind of play by the Wen group. This is a matter between the Zeng group and the Wen family. I hope you can resolve it quickly and to my satisfaction. The mall owner turned and walked away from the drama. He was a major client of the Zeng group, owning 17 cosmetic stores in Jianghai City and being one of their biggest customers. Don't worry, everyone. I just happened to be passing by today, and naturally, I'll help those who are being treated unfairly. I'll make things right for you, Wen Zhaohua announced, striking a heroic pose. Young Master Wen is so handsome. Wen Xiao is so cool. Young Master Wen is a true man. That the chorus of female admirers exploded again. Wen Zhaohua lapped it up, mentally giving Biao a gold star. This performance was going exactly as planned, right down to the hired extras and their over-the-top praise. He felt like he was floating on air. Hurry up and give us an explanation. All the reporters are here, and we're going to expose you. The woman with the pimples on her face screamed. Isn't there a manager Xia from the Zeng group? Let him come out here and explain this to everyone. If you don't give them an explanation today, I, Wen Zhaohua, will make sure the Zeng group regrets it. Wen Zhaohua thundered. Looking for me? Xia's voice, like something from a nightmare, echoed from behind Wen Zhaohua. Wen Zhaohua felt a chill crawl down his spine. Who's there? What, you don't recognize me after all this time? Xia's gaze lingered on the bandages on Wen Zhaohua's hands. It's you. Seeing Xia's devilish eyes, Wen Zhaohua involuntarily took a step back. He's the special general manager of the Zeng group. Wen Zhaohua blurted out, hoping to deflect the attention onto Xia. You're the manager of the factory that's hurting people. You owe us an explanation. That's right. You have to explain why we're all disfigured because of your product. The disfigured women surged towards Xia, followed by the reporters and gawkers. You're saying you were disfigured by using this product? Xia asked, examining the three women. That's right. I glanced at the receipts earlier. You all bought the cosmetics yesterday, correct? Xia continued. Yes. It only took a day to disfigure us. And your medical certificates were all issued today, right? Xia pressed. Just got them. Do the three of you know each other? Xia inquired. No. We don't know each other. The reporters, in the back, are you sure you're all reporters? Xia scanned the crowd behind them. Of course. We're all journalists. We have a right to expose this illegal activity. The reporters shouted. Freeze! A large number of police officers suddenly appeared at the mall entrance. We received a report of mass fraud in progress. A wave of officers poured in, with Brother Xiao Ma and Mr. Su following close behind. This is what you wanted. Mr. Su handed Xia an envelope. What are you doing here? Are you colluding with businesses and officials to destroy evidence? One of the disfigured women shouted. We're trying to defend our rights. We can't let them bully us. The reporters echoed. What do you think you're doing? Don't think you can just arrest people just because you're cops. Today, I, Wen Zhaohua, will see justice done. Wen Zhaohua stepped in front of the police and shouted. Shut up. Xia Xia roared, and the entire mall fell silent. Chapter 89, I Am Waiting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Summer's voice was husky, and suddenly, everything else faded away. What the hell is going on here? The police officers were friends of Xiao Ma, who Xia Xia had contacted earlier, confident he could handle things. Xiao Ma vouched for him, so he called in the favor. When Xiao Ma's friend heard it was a potential fraud case, he personally led the team. Officer, you might want to check if those reporters in the back are legit. I'm guessing they don't have any credentials. Xia Xia said casually, already knowing that none of them had proper press credentials. Check them out. If they aren't on the level, take them downtown. The police chief barked. You can't do that. We're citizens, we have rights. We haven't broken any laws, why are you checking us? Don't check. Hearing Xia Xia's words, the reporters started yelling, revealing they weren't really journalists. They couldn't find that many real reporters on short notice anyway. Wen Zhaohua's guys just hired a bunch of randoms. It's every citizen's duty to cooperate with a police investigation. Anyone who refuses, give me their IDs. If we find out they're not reporters, they'll be charged with fraud. Hearing that, the reporters quieted down. 5 minutes later. Chief, turns out only one of them is a trainee. The rest are fakes. Okay, bring them all in for questioning. With the fake reporters gone, the crowd thinned out considerably. The ones who had been so loud and eager before were now nowhere to be seen, not wanting to get involved. A few $100 wasn't worth the risk. They could just walk away. Pretty soon, just 4 people remained, Xia Xia, Zeng and Wen Zhaohua. Wen Zhaohua hadn't expected things to go this way. The reporters A Biao had found were just extras, and only one was a trainee at that. The 3 women, however, had been hired at a premium. They had to double down on the act. Backing out now would be admitting they were there to commit fraud, a serious crime. I believe you 3 said you didn't know each other, right? Xia Xia looked at the 3 women with damaged faces. Yes, we're strangers. So, you all happen to be shopping for cosmetics on the same day, and you also all managed to get appraisals from the same hospital on the same day? Xia Xia asked, emphasizing the absurdity. Hearing Xia Xia's words, the women looked at each other's appraisals. They hadn't realized the reports were identical, because they were fake appraisals from the same source. What's the big deal? It could just be a coincidence. Wen Zhaohua interjected. Sure, let's go with coincidence. Xia Xia walked over to the 3 women, stopping in front of the first one, the obese woman. You're claiming our company's products caused the acne on your face, is that right? Yes, it got like this after using that lotus lotion and water. But I just found some old photos of you. It seems your face has looked like that for the last 7 years. Care to explain? Xia Xia held up the photos for everyone to see. The woman in the pictures looked exactly like she did in the present, with minimal acne. Take her into custody, and take those photos with you. I was wrong. It was him. He paid me to do this. The obese woman pointed at Wen Zhaohua. Arrest her. She's a liar, twisting the truth. Wen Zhaohua shouted. Mr. Wen, care to explain this? The police officer asked, turning to Wen Zhaohua. You're going to believe this nonsense. I'm a public figure. If you want answers, talk to my lawyer. Wen Zhaohua retorted. Xia Xia moved on to the second woman. Hey, your red face seems to be fading. Ah. The woman stammered, touching her face. The color was fading. She'd been so nervous about being caught that she'd started sweating. That's enough, arrest her. I was forced. They threatened to stop my brother from going to school if I didn't do it. The woman cried. Tell it to the police station. Xia Xia said, smirking slightly, and walked toward the third woman. This woman had the most extreme disfigurement, with scars covering her face. Seeing Xia Xia approach, Wen Zhaohua felt a knot form in his stomach. The scarred woman was visibly sweating. I was wrong. I was forced. The scars on my face are fake. I confess, show me mercy. The third woman couldn't take it anymore and ripped off the fake scars. Fake scars, too? Looks like your case and the test results are fake as well. Take them all in. Congrats, you've got another win here. Xiao Ma grinned. Thanks, I'll treat you sometime. The officer said, smiling. I feel bad for you, you get hurt so badly, but still come out to go shopping, but that means you just happen to have this happen. Xia looked at Wen Zhaohua, smiling. The victims rolled their eyes at Wen Zhaohua. Okay, you just wait. Wen Zhaohua snarled at Xia. I'll be waiting. Xia replied. Wen Zhaohua's face flushed red. He turned and stormed out. As soon as he left the mall, Wen Zhaohua dialed a number. A Biao, you're useless, a complete waste of space. Stay away from me in the future. Wen Zhaohua hung up after cursing. I will never let you get away with this. Zeng Ro had stayed by Xia's side the whole time, silent. Xia had promised to handle it, and Zeng Ro had been wondering how he'd manage. She hadn't expected him to do it so well. Even if she'd taken charge, she wouldn't have been as effective. Brother Xiaoma, Brother Su, thanks to both of you. Xia said, smiling. You're welcome, call me if you need anything. Brother Xiaoma patted Xia on the shoulder. No need to be polite, you saved my life. Mr. Su smiled. After they left, Xia turned to Zeng Ro. So, what's the plan for the mall? You're the expert here, so I'm all ears. Zeng Ro smiled. Then we need a big event, something to generate publicity. We can stage it across all the mall owners' properties in 3 days. The premise is that anyone who buys those 2 products gets a chance to win one of 50 $10,000 grand prizes. The prizes need to be public, and the winners have to be announced publicly. Xia suggested. Chapter 90, Meet the Bee. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You're it, my big apple. Hey. It's Li Ying. You free tonight? Tonight. Xia glanced up at Zeng Ro. Got plans tonight, Zeng Ro murmured, signaling she'd be tied up. I am. Dinner's on me tonight. My treat for saving me. Sounds good. After hanging up, Xia caught Zeng Ro's knowing grin. Still got that killer charm, even with the ladies. Zeng Ro teased. Just a girl I helped out a few days back, Xia explained. Go on, take this. Zeng Ro pulled out a card. I don't need your money. Xia refused. It's not my money, it's your paycheck. For a special consultant with your skills. 20 grand a month is a steal. Zeng Ro gushed, still amazed at how Xia handled the situation. But I haven't actually worked. Xia began. Doesn't matter if you don't come into the office every day. You're our special consultant. As long as you show up when things get hairy. Besides, how else is our general manager supposed to wine and dine these girls? Zeng Ro slipped the card into Xia's pocket. After lunch, Zeng Ro took Xia to Yiqingxue and bought 10 full outfits for him. Clothes make the man, right? Suited up, Xia definitely looked the part. A major upgrade from what he was wearing this morning. Before heading out, Xia changed into a casual outfit. The price tags made him do a double take. He hadn't seen the prices when Zeng Ro was buying with her card. 18,888. Xia nearly choked. Back when he was working, he barely made 1,000 a month. This outfit would have taken him a year and a half to afford. He checked the shorts. Wow, made of gold, huh? 8 grand for this little bit of material. One last look at the shoes, and Xia wanted to die. Despite the hefty price tags, the clothes felt amazing. Li Ying chose a small, unpretentious restaurant near Jianghai University, close to where Xia Xia lived. It was where she worked a temp job before what happened. She never went back. Arriving at the restaurant, Xia Xia spotted Li Ying instantly. The place was tiny, maybe a dozen tables, a typical student hangout. "Wow, you look great today." Li Ying greeted him, smiling. "You look beautiful too." Xia Xia noticed that while her clothes weren't designer, they were clean, and she clearly put effort into her appearance. "Order whatever you want." "My treat." Li Ying slid the menu over. "My treat." "Can't let a lady pay." Xia Xia said casually. "No way. I insist, or you'll hurt my feelings." Li Ying wanted to show her appreciation for his help. If it wasn't for Xia Xia, she didn't know what might have happened. "Okay, then just get me a plate of peanuts." Xia Xia knew she wasn't well off. Like him in the past, eating out was a luxury. "If you don't order, I will." Li Ying understood his intention. "Hey, can we get peanuts and some cold cucumber salad?" Xia Xia called out to the owner. "What are you doing?" Li Ying looked confused. "Not too hungry. Just wanted to chill and chat," Xia Xia said with a smile. "Okay," Li Ying agreed. The simple dishes arrived quickly. The restaurant was quiet, in a somewhat hidden location, probably why Li Ying chose it. "Hey, give me 4 of your most expensive dishes," a guy at a nearby table called out. "Sure thing." The owner responded. "Hey, Li Ying. Is that you?" A woman at the table looked over, surprised. "Oh," Li Ying responded vaguely. The woman was dressed flashy. Li Ying ignored her, but the woman came over. "Why are you only ordering 2 dishes?" "We're not very hungry," Li Ying replied. "Go to a coffee shop if you're not hungry." "What's the point of being here?" The woman plopped down next to Li Ying. "Dajuan, this is a classmate from high school. Come on over, let's have dinner together, on me." The guy sauntered over, not even glancing at Xia Xia. "Didn't you go to Jianghai University too? How's it going?" The woman asked Li Ying. "I'm doing all right in school." Li Ying replied. "What's the point of going to a good school if you don't find a good boyfriend? Look at your clothes. Look at me, Dajuan buys everything for me. This top alone cost over 700. The woman eyed Li Ying. "Dajuan loves to spoil me. I said I just wanted a simple ring, but he insisted on gold, 4 or 5,000. You're my girl, of course, I'm going to spoil you." The guy's eyes were on Li Ying. This woman wasn't in the same league as Li Ying. Sure, she wore a lot of makeup, but up close, the heavy foundation couldn't hide her freckles. "Hey, this your boyfriend? Why is he dressed so shabby?" The woman turned her attention to Xia Xia. In her eyes, someone wearing Adidas was a good brand, and Xia Xia wasn't wearing it.